Well, the players have gone in and the Champions League ball is laid out across the centre circle and the volunteers all around that centre circle as well. The photographers have gathered by the tunnel, the blue and white flags. Every man jack at this City ground is waving those flags, blue and white. If you remember, I don't know if you saw the Europa League final last season, the Eintracht Frankfurt fans had black and white flags. The choreography of it was superb. Well, it's along those lines, but it's of course sky blues and white. I have to say the markings on the sky blue flags, I was checking them out earlier. There's a blue moon logo and there's a cloud with rain coming out of it, and that is classic Manchester, just reflecting everything about this city and everything about Manchester City as well. Wonderful stuff. So it is quite the sight. The three tiers of City fans opposite us, all waving those flags, and you know, it often gets criticised, the Manchester City support. The Etihad is sometimes called the Etihad, and I think that this season is a turning point actually, in that I don't think I've seen as much atmosphere at Man City home games as I have this season. I think there has been a transformation, and you can listen to the noise as we get closer and closer to kick-off. And of course it's Hey Jude. City instead of Hey Jude, of course, as we await the players coming out on the pitch. All the hard work, all the winning mentality that's been built up in the last 5 months or so by Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City players. The title is all but theirs. Yes, Arsenal were beaten at the weekend, but City have been relentless in their pursuit of the top of the table Gunners, and they've overhauled them. So it's going to be a 5th title in 6 years. The FA Cup to come next month against Manchester United. What a final that'll be, live on Talksport. And of course this Champions League, the treble dream could all be over by the end of this evening, or it could still be very much alive. The teams have made their way down the steps, they're in the tunnel, they're ready to come out onto the pitch. Skipper Ilkay Gundogan carrying the penalty that'll be exchanged with the opponents. He's at the front of the queue, carrying Benzema at the front for Real Madrid. Thibaut Courtois, colossus of a keeper, made some good saves in that first leg. Just behind him, keep being reminded by Talksport colleagues, Edison has the second worst save percentage ratio in the Premier League. Only Southampton's Gavin Bazunu is below him. But for me, being Manchester City keeper is not necessarily about making saves. It's about being an outfield player more than anything else, I think. It's up to the defenders and the midfielders to keep the ball at the other end of the pitch and simply keep the ball. Do teams have that many shots against Manchester City, generally speaking? No, they don't. As the officials lead the way, out march the players, and listen to the noise at this Etihad Stadium as the blue and white flags wave, and out come the champions and Real Madrid. Wow, there's some atmosphere in this stadium, building up to this semi-final, second leg, and all to play for. You know, 15 years ago when Manchester City was taken over, the new owner, Sheikh Mansour, wrote a letter to the City fans saying he wanted, and I quote, to build a team capable of sustaining a presence in the top 4 of the Premier League and winning European honours. Those were the words. Pep Guardiola hasn't just ticked the first box, he's obliterated it. City about to win a 5th title in 6 years. The second objective is proving tricky, winning European honours. Pep's done it elsewhere, but he needs to get the job done at City, and he needs to get the job done tonight. It's Manchester City against Real Madrid, 1-1 from the first leg. Winner plays into next month in the Champions League final in Istanbul. Is the blue moon on the rise over Europe? We're about to find out on Talksport. Your commentary team, former England captain Stuart Pearce, alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Well, these are the nights that will forever be recalled. The where were you when nights, the nights that end a folklore, for better or worse. And when the history of Manchester City is written, May 2023 will get its own chapter. The pursuit of the treble, the club's crowning achievement. Place in footballing immortality is cities to be claimed on the fields of East Manchester, North London and Istanbul. There are potentially 6 games to go, 6 hurdles to successfully navigate, and this one is the biggest of the lot. A date with Real Madrid, whose name is forever woven into the fabric of the Champions League, providing arguably one of the sliding doors moments of City's history. The 14-time European champions bring with them a mystique, an aura, an ability to find a way, whatever the context, however adverse the circumstances, as City themselves can testify. But if Pep's men can repeat their thrilling victory from Real's last trip here, that treble chance will be greatly enhanced. Is this their time? These are the nights. And these are the teams. So it's Ederson in goal for City. Walker, Diaz and Akanji. Stones and Rodri. Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan and Grealish. And Haaland. Real have Courtois in goal. Carvajal, Militao, Alaba and Camavinga. Valverde, Kroos and Modric. Rodrigo, Benzema and Vinicius. And in the game between some of the best in the world, fitting that we've got the World Cup final referee, Simon Marciniak from Poland, who takes charge. The City players in light blue and white, just congregating, not quite in a huddle as yet, just waiting for Kyle Walker to do a couple of sprints up the touchline, and he joins the throng, and now they will go into a huddle. Real Madrid in their change kit tonight of all black with the fluorescent yellow trim, lettering and numbering. It will be Manchester City kicking from left to right in this first half. 90 minutes of such paramount importance lying ahead. It is the final before the final. The European champions at the home of those that covet their crown, whose inaugural Champions League success could be the centrepiece of a greater, phenomenal achievement. Victory tonight doesn't bring the glory, but it paves the way for the chance of history. Inter Milan away, the winners of Manchester City against Real Madrid. And who better to watch it with than Stuart Pearce?
Yeah, there's no doubt the stakes are massively high straight away. Madrid dropping back into really good shape when they have to. They're happy for City to have it, and we all know how devastating they can be on the break. Cast your mind back a week to that counter-attack on 26 minutes or so when it hit the back of the net.
Well, it's a vibrant atmosphere here at the Etihad tonight as Manchester City play out from the back. Karim Benzema literally just walking back almost on tiptoes as firstly Ruben Diaz and then John Stones approach with possession. Ball played forward towards Rodri, showed too much of it to Valverde on halfway, who clears and it goes out of play for a throw that will be taken by Akanji. What an addition he has been to the Manchester City squad over the course of the 2022-23 campaign. Ball forward towards Ilkay Gundogan. He's got 4 goals in his last 2 games in sensational form. Wonderful finish, particularly for the first goal at Goodison at the weekend. City playing out from the back under a little bit of pressure from Modric. Kyle Walker has it. Vinicius coming back, but Walker can slip it down the line for Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne making a run ahead of him. Bernardo moves back through the midfield. John Stones slips it to his left-hand side. Akanji to Rodri. Bernardo in space on the Manchester City right as the ball is played to him. He can't quite control it, but that was interesting, something we saw in the first leg, and it's prevalent again tonight, that Real Madrid defending so narrow, not even the width of the penalty area, and that means there's always going to be room for Manchester City out wide. Yeah,
as I say, Bernardo Silva will have a lot of space out there to receive the ball. He's got to hold his width on occasion, but when he does, he's got to make sure, well, twofold really, A, that they get the overload on Camavinga, but secondly, to make sure Vinicius Jr. gets pulled back deeper and deeper if humanly possible.
There's been a goal in the WSL. Everton have got one back at home to Arsenal. They're down to 10, but have one back as Everton won Arsenal 4 with 3 minutes to go in that game. And here's Ruben Diaz bringing the ball forward here for Manchester City, finding Stones. Real hardly had a kick really inside the opening 2.5 minutes. Manchester City dominate possession and slowly force Real back towards the edge of their own penalty area. Ilkay Gundogan has it. Play down the left-hand side of the box for Grealish. Back out to Gundogan. Laid back by the German towards Akanji. And he swiftly gets the return pass, the Manchester City captain. Then work back from Rodri to Walker. Walker's in a central position, goes for goal, and nearly hits the upper tier of the fans at that end of the ground. Manchester City 0, Real Madrid 0, 3.5 gone, 1-1 on aggregate here on Talksport.
Yeah, just going back to that first leg last week, some of the lessons learned. You know, Grealish received a reasonable amount of the ball. Really important that he takes the full-back on as best he can, and certainly the right-hand side of the pitch where the room was, and it looks as though that's going to be the case this evening.
A choice of listening for you tonight on the Talksport network. If you've got the Talksport app, you can easily flick between one game and the other. Big game on Teesside, Middlesbrough against Coventry in the Championship playoff semi-final second leg, playing for the right to meet Luton. The winners of this one playing for the right to meet Inter Milan in a game that will bring you live on Talksport from Istanbul on Saturday, June the 10th. There's a foul on the retreating Haaland, but the referee's played the advantage. Haaland back way inside his own half in getting involved there. Walker can bring it forward. And City again around the edge of the Real Madrid penalty area. De Bruyne has kept it in, slips it inside the penalty area. Bernardo Silva just given a little shove, no penalty. And Real Madrid will be able to bring it away. Finishes his crossfield ball a little bit optimistic, and it fell straight for Akanji. And at the moment, Real are struggling to get out. City hemming them in.
A couple of intelligent fouls there, if you like, by Real Madrid. They didn't foul as the ball arrived. They fouled just prior to that.
Now Carver has been beaten. Grealish can deliver a high deep cross. Bernardo Silva attacking it, headed down for Kevin De Bruyne, trying to work the angle, clipping it back in. Haaland gives chase high off the head of Eder Militao and picked up by Thibaut Courtois. Good start this for Manchester City. Much the better side through the opening 5 goalless minutes.
Yeah, they certainly are. Top quality there. Ball broke out to De Bruyne. He drove just inside the box to the right hand side and just feathered the ball up. He just left it there invitingly, but Militao, great defensive work.
Ball played forward towards Luka Modric. Now Kevin De Bruyne has got it. Rodri down for Bernardo again. Now Bernardo Silva has the opportunity to try and bring it forward. Oh, he's got it between Camavinga and Vinicius, and they both converge to bring him down. A referee, Marciniak, says play on, and then says play on again as he goes down again under a challenge from Kroos. And Alaba should be able to clear. Now the referee stops play, and there'll be an immediate inquest involving Bernardo Silva and Haaland. And the referee raced over to Haaland and was far from happy, clearly, with the level of Haaland's protest. And Bernardo Silva's got a point. We're looking at a replay here, Stuart, but he's been fouled a couple of times, surely. I mean, the challenge that comes in on him from Camavinga hasn't played the ball at all in any shape or form.
Yeah, as I say, you've got to admire his close ball control. It's absolutely fantastic. I don't think there's any debate that Bernardo Silva's made a foul, but it's whether prior to that there was a foul made on him. And once you get your heckles up, it's very difficult to calm yourself down and not foul your opponent.
Grealish will try and get on the end of a ball that's played forward. Couldn't do so. Might at the second attempt as Kroos couldn't control it. And now Kevin De Bruyne driving. Haaland, he's in. The angle's far too tight. Supported back with the keeper nowhere to be seen. And none of the Manchester City players could get their keep up with him. Real are going to be able to bring it away. They've given it away then. Kroos with a loose touch, just struggling to get to the pace of the game early on. Bernardo Silva forces it wide. Walker plays it back. Rodri trying to get himself into a shooting position. Onto his right foot. Still he goes. And it's across the edge of the 6-yard box. And Courtois diving. Couldn't get a touch to it. It goes wide. But this has been an electrifying start without reward. But City really have excelled.
They certainly have. They're on the front foot. We saw it against Arsenal in that big pressure game a couple of weeks ago, and they've certainly got on the front foot tonight. Fantastic play. Rodri driving in the box, beating a couple, and just pulled his shot across the face of the goal, and Pep's rallying the crowd.
So you think back to that opening half hour that we saw last week when Manchester City were dominating, but they couldn't create enough goal-scoring opportunities for the amount of possession, the territorial advantage they were enjoying. But it feels as though there's a little bit more purpose to it tonight from what we've seen.
Yeah, there certainly has. I mean, they've had a couple of half sightings already in the game, you know, good play on this side. The more I watch Bernardo Silva, the more impressed I get with this boy.
Well, Bernardo Silva playing his 303rd Manchester City game today. Scored the winner at home to Real in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final last season. But history is littered with matches in which Real have looked a little bit substandard and then all of a sudden can provide a couple of devastating counter-attacks and they've got the job done in the blink of an eye, and Manchester City will be more than aware of that. Here's Walker. It's 0-0. 1-1 on aggregate. Bernardo Silva makes his way forward and just clipped ankles with Camavinga, who goes to the ground and gets the free kick. And if Bernardo Silva was unhappy with refereeing decisions to start with, then that's done little to assuage his simmering anger. There's a free kick which will be taken by Toni Kroos about 15 yards inside his own half. Forward towards Karim Benzema, who's scored 8 Champions League semi-final goals in the past in 17 Champions League semi-final matches, which is an extraordinary achievement to have played in 17 of them. There's a free kick here which Toni Kroos will take. Now coming into this on the back of 2 straight away defeats, incidentally. Both of those games are coming in the league. Real Sociedad beating them, and Girona beating them. And Manchester City perfect at home in 2023. Played 14 and they've won them all, averaging 3.5 goals a game in the process. Rodri's got it. Ball played forward for the advancing John Stones. Modric just keeps a watching brief, doesn't dive in and put a challenge in. Bernardo Silva for Rodri. This time Manchester City utilised the width on the left as it's chipped by Rodri out towards Grealish. It's faced up by Carvajal. Played back to the edge of the area. Rodri again urged to shoot, but Manchester City electing for the more patient, measured build-up. Now De Bruyne whipping it in with real pace. It's come for head of Eder Militao and is, in the end, relatively comfortably claimed by Thibaut Courtois. 0-0 Tengon. I've
got to say, Militao's got his positioning absolutely spot on in 2 occasions now. That was a hell of a ball to try and deal with from De Bruyne, whipped in swing from the left-hand side, and he's done brilliantly to get a touch on it.
De Bruyne to Bernardo Silva, then back for Stones. It's all within about 20 yards of the Real Madrid penalty area. When they do try and get out, Manchester City with such an imposing press, they're able to stop it happening and very quickly will turn over possession again. Walker to his left for Stones, to his left for Rodri. He's got a Kanji one stop further down the line. And now he will be able to bring it forward. Just lay it out towards Jack Grealish, left-hand side of the penalty area. Back it goes for Rodri, often finding space. This time he's found Stones. Akanji now towards Grealish again. And Grealish with another opportunity to try and take on Dani Carvajal. Brings inside the area, little reverse ball in towards Ilkay Gundogan. He will pick up possession and then turn. Back for Grealish. 5 yards outside the box to Stones. Stones will shoot, and he got the power but not quite the direction as he pulls it wide of the far post. 11 gone, City 0, Real Madrid 0 on Talksport, and here is the former City captain and manager Stuart Pearce.
This is what City have done well tonight, Jim, both on Grealish's side and Bernardo Silva. They've held their width, they've caused problems, they've taken their opponents on, which has dragged Madrid across to double up on them, slides their team across, and then when the ball's dragged back into the middle, the central players have got a little bit of space in Rodri, in Stones, in De Bruyne to get their head up and have a sight at goal.
Walker plays it back for Stones. Possession at the moment 76-24 in Manchester City's favour. A couple of attempts, both off target. Real Madrid have not got close to the City penalty area so far. Ederson hasn't had a touch. Akanji back out to Grealish. Grealish once more in the Real Madrid box, chipping it in. Haaland! Somehow cleared. And I really don't know how. came to meet it with a header, not dissimilar to his one at Goodison Park at the weekend. And between goalkeeper and defender, they effected the most unlikely block, and it remains 0-0. Here comes Bernardo Silva once more. Back for Stones. That's the best chance of the night by a long way. Stones out to Grealish. It was a great delivery. He'll go again, and this time fires one over the top right-hand corner. But he very nearly had an assist. Thibaut Courtois taking the plaudits from his teammates. A delicious chip in. Haaland came to meet it, and he got a right thigh to it, Courtois. It was then cleared by Alaba off the line.
Yeah, you've got to say, I'm delighted to see Jack Grealish in these early stages of the game, taking people on, running directly at them. I was a little bit critical in Madrid. I don't think he'd done it enough. Certainly tonight, it's a different matter. And what a ball that was into the box. Gifted, basically, onto Haaland's head. And I think it was probably only Militao just in front of him. Might have just took his eye off the ball slightly, Jim.
Erling Haaland, 52 goals this season, 13 in his last 7 games here. I mean, his overall statistics are extraordinary, but here, 35 goals in 24 games is just mind-boggling. Could have added to it there. Here's Akanji bringing it forward for Ilkay Gundogan. And Gundogan will turn and run towards the edge of the penalty area. It was stopped by Carvajal. And the loose ball ricochets through. And out of play for a corner, which Grealish will go across to take. Good work by Akanji, who got to a loose ball and quickly drove it off a Real Madrid player. First corner of the night to Manchester City.
Yeah, City have absolutely come out the traps like they did in Madrid, and absolutely put Madrid on the back foot, creating chances here where they probably didn't do that a week ago.
Haaland peels away at the near post, tries to get his head to it, just over. And Courtois punches it away. Grealish with the initial delivery, gets it back. Grealish inside the penalty area, just lost possession. He's having a very good start of the game. Gundogan will chip it back in. He can't find Haaland. Same combination that worked so well for City's second goal the other night. And now the ball's gone out of play for what Bernardo Silva clearly thought was a Manchester City throw, but has been given the other way. And Camavinga will come across to take it. But we said it last week and it didn't happen. It's crucial when you're in a game of this magnitude against opposition of this quality and you're on top. You've got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I think if it was any game, any league game or any cup game, you would turn around and say, well, it's only a matter of time before they A, score and B, get the result, because you know it's Madrid, because we've seen the game last week, how it can swing any way, basically, irrelevant to who's got the ascendancy in the game. You've always got that worry in the back of your mind.
Now that WSL game has finished after a stack of stoppage time. Everton 1, Arsenal 4, and they are underway. West Ham against Chelsea is 0-0. Chelsea avoid defeat, they go top. Here's Jack Grealish, left-hand side of the penalty area, again for Manchester City. He's seen so much of it in the early stages. Carvajal denies him the opportunity to get a cross in on this occasion, so Grealish pulls it back for Rodri. Kanji is going to bring it forward. It's 0-0 here on Talksport. Jim Bradford and Stuart Pearce talking through the action at the Etihad. De Bruyne's ball in is swept away by Eder Militao, and that will go almost towards halfway and out of play for a throw that Ruben Dias will take. If you're a Real Madrid supporter watching this, you would be frightfully concerned. You
certainly would, and City are really playing with supreme confidence. And the one thing, if you add De Bruyne's heat map now, he's on the left-hand side, he's overlapping the wide player on the left, he's overlapping Bernardo Silva on the right. Anywhere across that band as well, he's operating and causing problems.
Jack Grealish taking a throw for City. Goes back for Akanji, and then it's worked through the midfield for Kyle Walker. You listen to the Champions League live on Talksport with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest. Here's Ilkay Gundogan. Too much on that. Haaland making a run down the left-hand side of the 6-yard box, but Gundogan has missed it. And he goes out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by Thibaut Courtois.
It's interesting to see Pep and his body language down there. There's been nothing but positivity from Pep, even when his players hit an errant pass now and then, take an effort that it doesn't force a save. He's just being positive, and I think a little bit of that is aimed at the crowd as well. Keep behind us, keep buoying us on.
Akanji on the left-hand touchline for Manchester City. Back for Gundogan. Gundogan to Haaland. Haaland trying to flick it forward, and a free kick won as Gundogan was caught in the midfield there. And Valverde was the perpetrator of that foul. And an opportunity now for Manchester City to be able to get the big guns for a free kick that Kevin De Bruyne will stand over.
Yeah, perfect opportunity here from De Bruyne, probably about 30 yards out, just inside the point of the box, if you like. But he's got the opportunity to whip it in swing. They're the sort of efforts, if you put enough swaz on it, might just end up in the far corner if everyone misses it. I think he's shooting, to be quite honest with you, though.
Yeah, he may well be. It's the kind of position that Gianfranco Zola used to be able to make the most of, and he's fired it wide of the near post. Didn't quite get the movement that he wanted, and it's drifted wide of Thibaut Courtois' post. Out of play for a goal kick. 0-0, 18 minutes gone. Let's get full-time details of that WSL game at Everton, Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Arsenal have beaten Everton 4-1 to keep alive their slim title hopes. 2 goals for Ford, 1 apiece for McCabe and Vubben-Moy in a rampant first half. They had Leah Velti stretch it off. Chelsea loanee Aggie Beaver-Jones initially booked for the challenge, but then given a straight red. Katia Snow-East pulled back a late consolation. Everton 1, Arsenal 4.
Thank you, Jeff. And they are underway, as I mentioned, that West Ham-Chelsea games in the very early stages. It's an 8:15 kickoff, so they played nearly 5 there, 0-0. And 0-0 as well, Middlesbrough-Coventry, and we'll get an update from there very shortly, but it is live right now over on Talksport 2. Here on Talksport, it's 0-0. Manchester City, utterly dominant, nothing to show for it. A little bit of deja vu after last week. Here's Akanji. Laid out to Jack Grealish on the Manchester City left. Grealish shown inside by Carvajal. Rodri flicks it back to him. Grealish then gives him an excellent return ball. Rodri just plays the way that he's facing and goes back for Akanji. And then shows for the return pass once more. We bring it into a more central area, about 15 outside the Real Madrid penalty area. Akanji into the feet of Grealish and then back for Akanji again. Diaz is the passing option deep in the midfield, but it was worked slightly more advanced of him to Diaz. Now to John Stones. Stones has got Walker right in front of Carlo Ancelotti on this near touchline, who's just got his right arm extended. He's seen the problem, he's seen De Bruyne in space. So have City. Modric with the challenge, and he puts it out of play for another City corner.
Just looking at the 2 central defenders there of Real Madrid, so tight they are, literally a couple of yards between them, and in between them are Haaland. And a great run by De Bruyne there, just drew one of them out wide, and that's what they've got to do, split that pairing up if they can.
So Kevin De Bruyne will take this corner. Haaland stands on the edge of the 6. Bernardo Silva showing for the short one. A late run from him, back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne clipping it in very deep, headed back across the edge of the 6-yard box for Haaland. What a stunning save. Header from 6 yards. And for all the world, it looked as though it was 1-0 to Manchester City. And Courtois has died full length, has got a right hand to it, and has tipped it round the post. And it's one of the saves of the season.
Well, magnificent. He's heading to his left.
In comes the next corner, and it's just too deep for the 2 City players coming in the far post, and he goes out of play for a goal kick. That is just a stunning piece of goalkeeping.
It certainly is. He's coming across his goal to his left. He's trying to get across and narrow an angle down, and all of a sudden he's got to go back to his right. And, well, if they're going to go through to the final, Courtois straight away is going to be probably the best player on the pitch.
Well, if Real Madrid go through after what we've seen this City onslaught in the early stages, they'll replay that save over and over again, because it will be crucial. It's just extraordinary. The reactions, the leap from him, the stretch, the wingspan, and then to get the angle right, just to feather it round the post and not to the onrushing Manchester City players. It was just a magnificent piece of goalkeeping from the former Chelsea man, who's played in 2 Champions League finals in his career, 1 for Real and 1 against them. And Manchester City with a rare poor pass, knocking out of play a throw which will be taken by Camavinga on the Real Madrid left-hand side. Midway through the first half here, and a similar distance through proceedings in the Championship playoff semi-final at Middlesbrough. And let's get an update there from Graham Courtney.
Middlesbrough 0, Coventry 0. Really bright start actually by the Borough. Marcus Fors with a shot across the face, a goal in just the opening minute. Same as it was in the first leg. Borough 0, Coventry 0. Commentary on Talksport 2.
Graham, thank you. Bernardo Silva in possession, controls it on his chest, flicks it with his left foot, plays it in with his right to the run of John Stones. Back from Stones to Walker. Walker to De Bruyne. De Bruyne with half a yard of space. Here's Bernardo Silva! 1-0 Manchester City! Another step closer to the treble! It's a goal that's been coming since the first whistle. Sometimes all that glitters is not gold. Sometimes it's silver. Bernardo Silva with his left instep, brilliant pass to find him. Nothing that Courtois can do about that. It is thoroughly deserved. It's 1-0 Manchester City.
Well, just prior to that, Vinicius Jr. was saying to his defence, get up, get up. He's been starved of the ball, and when the goal celebrations were going on, he's gone over to his manager. Now he's gone over to his central defenders and say, get up the pitch a little bit. They've had a little team meeting between them, but let's go back to the goal. Brilliant interchange by City, and when it come to Bernardo Silva, he cut into the box, give the goalkeeper the eyes and done him on the near post. No less than City deserve.
Well, he scored the winner at home to Real Madrid last season. He scored the goal that gives them the lead at home to Real Madrid this season. Manchester City 1, Real Madrid 0, 2-1 on aggregate. And it's Bernardo Silva with his 6th goal of the season, but the man for the big occasion. Here's Kyle Walker. Back towards John Stones. Stones that little bit deeper now as he picks up possession. Oh, it's a lead that is so thoroughly deserved. Again, taking a similar pattern really to the one that we saw last week, although City's dominance has been even more marked than it was in Madrid, and now they do have a tangible reward. And all they've got to do now is draw with Real Madrid over the next 65 minutes and they're in the Champions League final.
Well, what they didn't do last week, Jim, was create cutting-edge chances. All of a sudden in this game, the goalkeeper's made 2 point-blank saves that are brilliant. They've hit the back of the net, and they've had a couple of other efforts that have been equally dangerous for Real Madrid, but they've done so well, so well coming out in a game of this magnitude. They've just got on the front foot, pinned Madrid back, and Madrid will be thinking, where do we go from here? This could be 3 or 4 if it carries on in this vein.
Well, you and I talking before the game, you were citing that Arsenal match of being the biggest game that they had in the league this season, and the electrifying start that they made, and they were able to come out of the traps and really dampen any threat from the opposition, and this has been almost identical. But Real Madrid's so lively on the counter-attack. They try and get Modric finding Vinicius, and with the players that they've got on the field, you cannot take anything for granted if you're a Manchester City fan. But it's City 1, Real Madrid 0. Gundogan back for Rodri inside the centre circle. Now Stones. Stones towards Rodri. Space again for Bernardo Silva. An opportunity to run at Camavinga. Gets shown inside by the Frenchman. Still he's got it though. Flicking it off to his left for Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan to Haaland! Just wide. Minimal backlift edge of the penalty area, swiveled and shot all in one movement, and he didn't miss by much.
Well, he's took a touch with his left foot, and he's hit a shot as it was bouncing up with so much violence on it. It was incredible. When I was waiting for the net to ripple, to be honest with you, but it's probably about 1.5 feet wide.
Vinicius, handball. Long ball punted forward from the back. Vinicius looking disconsolate, the decision going against him. Rodri took the free kick immediately. And City will bring it forward again with Gundogan. Real are a side they've lost 7 of their 23 away games this season in League Cup and Champions League. Manchester City's home record almost perfect. All competitions this season, played 28 here, won 26. Held by Everton, beaten by Brentford. That's it. 96 goals on home turf. And they've only let in 20. Here's Jack Grealish. Back towards Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan to Kanji. Kanji back for Ruben Dias. And the Manchester City fans here relishing what they're seeing, enjoying the moment, and certainly now full of belief. Edison lays out from the back, finds John Stones. Stones rolling it back towards Kevin De Bruyne, and he's very definitely been in the heart of midfield until they went 1-0 up. Now John Stones is back, although he's still going in there. It's not with so much prevalence, and he's dropping more alongside Ruben Dias at centre half. There's a great run here from Grealish, and almost a perfect ball slipped forward towards Haaland. A little bit frustrated with himself, but he maybe just didn't quite read Grealish's passing intentions there. Grealish has had a good start of this game. So is this man, Thibaut Courtois, because without him, Real Madrid would be down and out already. Eder Militao to Carvajal, and then back for Courtois again. Courtois controlling it inside his 6-yard box, plays it down towards Alaba under immediate pressure from Haaland, and telling pressure as well, although Alaba's clearance hit the striking Viking and goes out of play for a throw to be taken on the Real Madrid left. City 1, Real Madrid 0 on Talksport.
I think when you look at City's lineup, obviously they got that tactical nuance with John Stones stepping in, but the rest of the players are in reasonably set positions, apart from De Bruyne. He's the one, the yards that he's putting, if you look at his distance map, I bet you he's covered more distance than any player on the pitch to receive the ball. He's on the left, he's on the right. If defenders need an outlet, he offers himself. He's overlapping wide players. Been quite incredible.
Karim Benzema's just taken a bang to the face as the ball was played forward out from the back by City. Benzema going up for it, and just caught Carvajal, I beg your pardon, just caught a flailing arm over on the far touchline. He's complaining that he was elbowed. Not how the referee saw it, and it's a throw to restart play over on the Manchester City left. Thrown in towards Haaland. Haaland coming to meet it has given a free kick away, which will be taken on halfway. So 2 games for you tonight, 3 for you on the Talksport network tomorrow. And Newcastle can move within 3 points of a return to the Champions League. Brighton can move within 3 points of a top 6 finish. They play each other in a 7:30 kickoff live on Talksport tomorrow. Talksport 2. West Ham aim for their first European final in 47 years. Defending a 2-1 first leg lead away to AZ Alkmaar in the Netherlands. That's on Talksport 2 tomorrow, kicking off at 8. City turn possession over here, but Eder Militao is going to get there ahead of Haaland. And we've got a League One playoff semi-final as well tomorrow. Sheffield Wednesday hoping to make playoff history by overturning a 4-goal deficit. They take on Peterborough at Hillsborough, and that is on the Talksport app. Now, it's coming together inside the penalty area between Haaland and Eder Militao, which left Eder Militao on the deck. As he just turned, having passed the ball back for Courtois, he just turned, collided with Haaland, who probably saw him coming and decided not to get out of the way. Militao's back on his feet, the referee calming the pair of them down, and play will continue. Goal in the WSL at West Ham, Ian Abrahams.
14 gone, West Ham 0, Chelsea 1. Neve Charles has got the goal after Sam Kerr's shot was blocked. Left-hand side of the area, she put the ball in. It's West Ham 0, Chelsea 1.
Thank you, Moose. John Stones brings it forward. Toni Kroos picks it up, though, in the midfield. Slips it to his left-hand side for Luka Modric. Down to Karim Benzema on the Real Madrid left. Play with such an impressive goal-scoring record against English opposition in the Champions League. 20 in 28 ties is a more than decent return. Now Vinicius making a run. Rodrigo's played him in. He's got goal side of Walker, and Walker has brilliantly rectified the situation. Well, Vinicius leaves most defenders for dead, and Walker stayed with him, and then very quickly just nipped in between Vinicius and the ball, brought it away as if it was so routine, and launches a City counter-attack by getting it wide out towards the left-hand side for Grealish. Now De Bruyne, a couple of City fans in front of us, embracing, they're delighted with what they've seen. They're almost as if, well, we're 1-0 up, and Walker's just done that to Vinicius. What can possibly go wrong?
Aside from the goal, that was the most important interaction that you'll see on the pitch. Quite incredible. His recovery run, not to give a penalty away, and to take the ball off a player of his ability and keep possession and play out. Magnificent.
Haaland makes the run. De Bruyne can't find him. And Luka Modric is going to be able to bring it away. Now Manchester City with won 3 times as many passes as Real Madrid in this game so far, already up into the 300s. Karim Benzema comes forward. Ederson races outside his penalty area, but that's twice now in a minute that Rodrigo has come into the almost inside left channel from the right hand side and has played excellent passes, one for Vinicius, one for Benzema, and almost got the pair of them in.
Yeah, if it wasn't for good goalkeeping, alert goalkeeping on that latter one, and Paul Walker's attendance have been magnificent. It just goes to show Madrid have that threat, and until this game's put to bed totally, they've always got the opportunity.
Toni Kroos for Real Madrid, played through the midfield. Bernardo Silva goal, the difference between the two teams, and it means that City have now scored 100 more than they've conceded over the course of this season. Kroos for Modric. Modric out for the right-hand side for Dani Carvajal. Benzema waiting on the edge of the penalty area, and Real Madrid have their first corner of the night. It's a low ball driven in, hits Akanji's heels and deflects away. And Luka Modric will go across to take it. 33 gone, 1-0 to Manchester City, who lead 2-1 on aggregate, and they're less than an hour away from a Champions League final in Istanbul. But so much water's got to go under the bridge yet. 6 in black in the penalty area to attack this. Eder Militao going up for it. First touch off a City player, but it's going to be picked up on the left-hand touchline by Vinicius. Great little reverse ball round the side of Bernardo Silva for Karim Benzema. Back from him to Toni Kroos. Kroos letting fly, hits the crossbar, and it ricochets high up in the air, and Haaland deliberately misses it to let it go out of play for a goal kick. That is what Real Madrid are all about. Haven't had a sniff in this game, really, and then hit the bar, and they're 2 inches away from an equaliser.
Jim, they're like a sleeping tiger, aren't they, the Madrid team? You know, you think, it's all right, they're no threat whatsoever, and all of a sudden, wow-wee, what an effort. I'm not so sure the goalie might have taken a slight touch on that to help it onto the crossbar, but just a couple of warning shots there, as we saw certainly in the first leg.
Gundogan in possession for Manchester City. The goal to the good. Back for Diaz. Diaz back to his goalkeeper. Ederson taking a touch, and Benzema denied him the time to have more than one more. He wasn't able to get it out of harm's way. Rodri picking it up in the midfield. Oh, brilliant run from Stones, and Rodri just slipping it into his path, and Stones travels 40 yards and then caught in 2 minds, I think, and hangs his head in frustration. He looked for Bernardo Silva, but hit the ball about 3 times harder than he needed to, and it goes straight out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Thibaut Courtois away to our right-hand side. It's the 3rd time these two have met in the Champions League semi-finals, and Real have progressed both times in the past. The City beat Real home and away the round of 16 in between those, back in the 1920 season. There was a 1-0 aggregate defeat to a Fernando own goal in the first of those semi-finals, and then last year that remarkable, a late double strike from Rodrigo when Real Madrid were down and out, and taking a standing count, and somehow got off the canvas and hit City on the jaw twice, and then again in extra time. Here's Grealish inside the penalty area for Ilkay Gundogan. It's taken a block. Oh, it's hit it in! He's done it again! Bernardo Silva! Loose ball ricocheting through the penalty area, and Silva, calm as you like, walks onto it and sends a looping header into the top right-hand corner. Book your plane tickets for Istanbul. Manchester City are going to be in the final.
Well, unless City take their foot off the gas, this could turn into a 4 or 5 rout. It really could. The ascendancy that they've shown over the vast majority of this, give or take a couple of efforts from Madrid, but it's that little magician, and once again they played it brilliantly. Grealish just edging into the box, people backing off and backing off. played a great ball in there. Gundogan ended up having his shot, and it's popped up in the air. And Bernardo Silva, no panic whatsoever. All he's done is put a little bit of gentle loft on the ball and took it over the defender, and it nestled in the back of the net. Wonderful finish by him. He made that look a lot easier than it actually was.
Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 0. Pep has won a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid in the past. Did it with Barcelona in 2011. He's lost them at this stage with Bayern in 2014 and with Manchester City last season. This isn't an unassailable lead, but a 2-goal aggregate advantage. Surely City fans, lightning can't strike twice. Remember, they did have a 2-goal aggregate advantage much later in the game than this last season. Before that double Rodrigo strike, one on 90 and one on 90 plus 2. Here's Camavinga bringing it forward, finding Luka Modric. Modric on halfway, goes back for Toni Kroos. Kroos is inside the centre circle. Head of Militao. Trolling his studs over the top of the ball, finds Luka Modric. Modric goes back for Alaba. Alaba to Camavinga. Camavinga down the line for Vinicius. Rodrigo. And the second Bernardo Silva goal coming, 2 minutes after Toni Kroos' drive was just flicked onto the crossbar by Ederson. It is a game of inches. Those inches are in Manchester City's favour tonight. Grealish bringing it forward. He's judged to have given the free kick. Well, no, the free kick's been given City's way. The referee really should have played the advantage on that basis, because they'd got 5 going forward against 4 in the Real Madrid back line. And as soon as the referee put his whistle to his mouth, I assumed it must have gone the other way, but he's given it to City, when the advantage really would have worked in their favour.
Well, what the City players should have done, there was 3 of them literally on top of the ball. They should have just spotted it and played on. They'd have had a numbers overload if they would have done. They've decided to stop and berate the referee.
Walker, Bernardo Silva, Camavinga has just hauled him to the ground. No yellow card.
Is Bernardo Silva due to leave this football club in the summer?
Well, there's been talk about his future for a long time, hasn't there? You think that the integral part that he plays in the big games, the same with Ilkay Gundogan, who is out of contract in the summer, that situation, you would think that it would be folly to let it go.
Well, I mean, Silva has been, I think, for the last 2 months, City's best player. There's no doubt about that. And the more I watch him, the better he gets.
Kevin De Bruyne with a free kick for Manchester City. It's on the right flank. There are 5 City players inside the penalty area. They've got 2 in space on the edge of the box. De Bruyne with a low little swinger in, and Ruben Dias was there. Toni Kroos marshalling him. Things come off Rodrigo last, and goes out of play for a corner which will be taken on the Manchester City right. 2-0.
Yeah, when a player of De Bruyne's quality looks as though he's not got a free kick right, you know he's looking for feet in the box. He's whipped one in there. And just I think what Pep's done as well with Bernardo Silva, he's played him out on this right-hand side more regularly, and it's a position he really enjoys by the looks of it.
So De Bruyne to take this corner on the Manchester City right, headed away by Modric. Bernardo Silva hooking it left-footed back down towards De Bruyne. That was his intention. And then Bernardo Silva trying to block Real, looked to break quickly with a ball from Carvajal. Vinicius chases after it, but Walker got there first. I just wonder whether Bernardo Silva tried to handball that as it was played down the near touchline. Officials didn't spot it if that was the case. The ball goes out of play eventually for a throw, which will be taken on the Manchester City left, the far touchline from us. And they're in no hurry to take it with Manuel Akanji. 3.5 to go to half-time. First half has raced by. It's Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 0. Kevin De Bruyne down towards Bernardo Silva. Silva pirouetting in the midfield. Playing in Kyle Walker. Walker controlling the ball. He goes back for Rodri in a central area. It's about 15 yards outside the centre circle. Down towards Bernardo Silva again, who's on a hat-trick. Good movement from İlkay Gündoğan. Took a couple of the defenders' attention. The ball is passed towards Kevin De Bruyne. Now to Rodri. Rodri into the feet of Stones in the midfield. And Stones again able just to saunter onwards with easy possession. Finds Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne getting it back from Rodri. Camavinga, I don't know what he was trying to do there, but he ended up face down in the turf, almost as if he like sort of lost his balance as he tried to lunge forward to hug De Bruyne. A few ironic cheers from the Manchester City fans as he did that. Gündoğan laying it back for Akanji, and this easy Manchester City possession, a hallmark of their game, hasn't been any less marked today than it is against ordinary opposition.
Yeah, I think the biggest job anyone's got at half-time is Carlo Ancelotti to convince his team they've still got the opportunity in this game.
De Bruyne looking for Haaland. Now he goes through for Courtois. I guess that the gist of the half-time team talk is, just remember last season, it can still happen. If City score again, you'd think it surely can't. Here's Rodri. Back towards İlkay Gündoğan. Gündoğan down towards Bernardo Silva. Right-hand side of the penalty area, trying to work the angle, doesn't go for a shot, but he has set up De Bruyne. De Bruyne slipped down the left-hand side. Haaland didn't quite read that in time, and it goes out of play for a goal kick which will be taken by Real Madrid. We've got 90 seconds left in a pulsating first half. And Manchester City have forced two brilliant saves out of Courtois. Edison's made a stunning stop of his own. It could easily be 4-1 this in Manchester City's favour. It is 2-0. Walker backpedaling, heads away from Vinicius. Walker's had an excellent night. Rodri gets it back from Toni Kroos, which wasn't his intention to give it away in the first place, or Kroos's. There's a strange little 1-2 between the pair of them in the midfield. Grealish has got it now, and he will make his way forward down towards Rodri. Rodri chipping it down towards Bernardo Silva, and the bearded Portuguese controls it, pirouettes onto his left foot, and a shot on target, but it was easy for Courtois to get down on his knees and clutch it into his body. 2-0.
It's almost too easy to run past players at the moment in the Madrid shirt. You know, Camavinga there, the player he's marking has got 2 goals. He's been very integral in everything they've done, and he's just given the ball away on the edge of his own box now.
To Haaland, and De Bruyne's got it. De Bruyne chipping it back in. Here's a chance at the far post for Bernardo Silva once more. Grealish has it. Grealish on the left-hand side of the penalty area. He's on the deck. Play goes on. Gündoğan to Rodri. Down towards Silva. Bottom right-hand corner of the penalty area. Faced up by Modric this time. He's passed it round him. Kevin De Bruyne hooking it in. Just too high for Grealish. Gündoğan back. Haaland with a touch. Akanji's got it. Kanji, and Grealish waiting. Sees it blocked in front of him by Alaba for another corner.
Normally at this stage, yourself will be saying to me, or Aid at half-time, what do you do if you're Real Madrid? Because you're playing against Man City and they're that good? The answer is, I have absolutely no idea, to be honest with you. A change of formation, maybe. At the moment, things couldn't get any worse for them unless City hit the back of the net again just before half-time.
Well, Camavinga has had a torrid night against Bernardo Silva, who's twisted in one way and then the other so many times. You're going to have to unscrew Camavinga from the ground so he can get in at half-time. Corner to be taken by Jack Grealish. Right-footed ball in. That's great goalkeeping again by Courtois, who punches it clear. And listen to the ovation from the Manchester City supporters at half-time as their team comes off with a 2-0 advantage, a 2-goal aggregate lead provided by a Bernardo Silva brace. City have been magnificent. They have risen to the occasion. Boy, have they turned up for the big one tonight against Real Madrid. The 2-goal lead, richly merited. The foundation for the treble. Who knows? But certainly looks as though it's the foundation for a place in the final. Half-time, Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 0. 3-1 on aggregate.
Thanks, Jim. City players, heads up, chests out as they get down the tunnel at half-time. Real Madrid players, heads down. They look a beaten side. Benzema and Carvajal having words behind their hands so you can't see their lips move. There are things wrong with this Real Madrid side for sure, but wow, Manchester City, that is classic Pep. That's classic Pep's City. And Bernardo Silva with the goal. Sensational football, and the crowd responded as well. It's been brilliant inside the Etihad in that first half. Let me remind you that Manchester City were 5-3 up on aggregate after 180 minutes of the semi-final last season, and they still managed to blow it. So, as Jim's repeatedly said in commentary, do not take anything for granted. There's still a job to be done. But Stuart Pearce, they couldn't have done any better in that first half. I think Manchester City, they've had well over 70% possession. These are supposed to be two of the top sides in Europe. Man City have absolutely bossed it. Real Madrid resorted to one shot from outside the box, and it went mighty close, but that's all they've shown.
It's been one of the performances of Champions League history, I believe. You know, City have come out for a game of this magnitude and absolutely put a very, very good Real Madrid side on their back foot. The movement, the passing, the possession, the cutting edge, everything's been in place. And last week I was quite critical of both wide players in regard to Grealish and Bernardo Silva not being as effective enough, taking players on, asking questions at their respective opponents. It's been totally the opposite tonight. Those two players in that wide area, Grealish running at people, sliding balls through. Bernardo Silva's been absolutely wonderful. Aside from the goals he's got, he's been absolutely brilliant for this team. And Real Madrid don't know how to stop it. It's just an endless flow of attack.
Wouldn't surprise me if Camavinga's in the dressing room, in the corner, rocking on his haunches, about to burst into tears. Listen, you were a top left back in your time. How do you defend against that?
Well, for a start, you can't tuck in as much as he has been. You know, he done that job, and that's the way he plays. I take it for Madrid, and we saw it in the away game, and the ball was able to feed out to Bernardo Silva, both in Madrid and tonight. The difference being Bernardo's gone past his opponent on occasion. He's passed without the ball beyond him. He's run beyond him. And De Bruyne, if you get his heat map of where he's been, which I've not got the technology to do that, you know that, but if you got the heat map of where he's been all over this pitch to receive the ball, to run without the ball. He's been incredible. He's made it all very fluid for the rest of the team.
When you say all over the pitch, all over the Real Madrid half, because they've barely been in their own half.
He's not done much defending, you know.
Bernardo Silva, by the way, is the third player to score 2 or more goals in a Champions League semi-final match against Real Madrid. He joins Lionel Messi and Robert Lewandowski. That's not bad company to keep, is it? It's a man of the match performance so far, man of the first half performance so far. That little bit of caution we've got after what happened in the semi-final last year. Do you think that Manchester City, because they've grown so much in the 12 months since that semi-final defeat to Real Madrid, that they're not going to make the same mistakes? So what happened in Madrid last season in that semi-final, where they went out when they had the tie won, Grealish came on, missed chances, didn't really do his defensive work. He alone as an individual has grown so much. I can't see City making those same mistakes.
Well, on what we've seen at the moment over 45 minutes, the only thing I can see is this game going to 3, 4 or 5, to be quite honest with you. And now I'm not daft enough to realise that Madrid, given the opportunity to counter-attack, might get something out the game. But at this moment in time, City at every level, even, you know, you flip it on its head, and when they've had to defend, the defensive work from Kyle Walker there to deal with Vinicius Jr. was quite incredible. It was wonderful defending, and listen, they've been absolutely almost perfect. The only criticism you could offer them was the fact that Madrid have hit the bar and they've had a couple of half efforts. Apart from that, at this standard of football, their performance has been magnificent.
Oh yeah, that time when Vinicius was in and I thought he was going to have a go at goal, Kyle Walker absolutely ruined him for pace, and he was clocked in training recently, Kyle Walker, at 23.5 miles an hour. I mean, that to me is just that's faster than I can go on a bike. And I'm talking about a motorbike.
As you say, little things like that sometimes get overlooked by people, and they glorify what goes on and people scoring, and I get that, but I've played at the back all my life, and that was equivalent to a goal. in my book.
Well, the way the crowd reacted to it was a goal, wasn't it? It was like a goal celebration.
Yeah, it literally was. I think they appreciated how good defensive it was, and they know at that stage, with Madrid not getting a sniff of the ball, if they break away and score a goal there, it changed the dynamic of the game.
Yeah, absolutely magnificent, truly magnificent from Manchester City. 2 goals for Bernardo Silva. They're 2-0 up at half-time. They're 3-1 up on aggregate. It's live here on Talksport, and we're also at the Riverside as well. This one's live on Talksport too. It's the Championship semi-final playoff second leg. Goalless from the first leg. Winner takes on Luton at Wembley in the final, which we'll also have live on Talksport. But how has that first half gone in the North East? Graham Courtney.
Well, not being magnificent is the best way. Middlesbrough 0, Coventry 0. That's the way the semi-final first leg actually ended last Sunday. Bright start actually by Middlesbrough. They had a couple of really good chances. The best one probably coming after 29 minutes. Bedlam in the Coventry box. Riley McGree, I think he's so impressive. He's knocked a ball to Chuba Akpom, but some desperate defending by Carl McFadzean cleared the danger. And then on the stroke of half-time, we had our first effort on target. Borough with a corner, swept in, and there was the Borough captain, Darragh Lenihan, to fire a header away, but he's put it straight at Ben Wilson in the City goal. You've got to work the keeper and put either side. But anyway, so at the moment, all being a bit frustrating. Winners, of course, play Luton at Wembley in 10 days' time, and the Luton boss, Rob Edwards, is actually here tonight as well, doing his homework. He wouldn't have seen anything to get worried about so far, put it that way. So it's Middlesbrough 0, Coventry 0, and there will be second half commentary of this game from Ian Danter and Adrian Clark on Talksport 2 in about 10 minutes' time.
Indeed, thanks Graham, and you can get Talksport 2 by downloading the Talksport app for free, and you can swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2, or just tell your smart speaker to play Talksport 2. City dominance as it stands, they're heading through. It's one of those special nights at the Etihad tonight. You're listening to Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
The Sun Super Days is off to Thorpe Park Resort with over 30 rides, attractions and live events, including Stealth. And new for 2023, Ghost Train, with terror guaranteed. Get 2 free tickets worth over £120 when you collect codes inside the Sun. Pick up the Sun this Saturday to start collecting. T's and C's and booking fee apply.
The Gallagher Premiership Rugby Final 2023. Twickenham, Saturday, 27th of May. One of the most thrilling seasons ever is about to reach its climax. And now the home of England Rugby provides the ultimate backdrop to an epic battle between the country's star players. Be there to see the champions crowned. The Gallagher Premiership Rugby Final 2023. Saturday, 27th of May at Twickenham. Glory awaits. Be there to see the trophy lifted. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours today at premiershiprugby.com.
When it comes to helping those that really need it, actions speak louder than words. So here's what we've been doing at British Gas. Over the past year, we've given £50 million in energy debt support, including grants to help with bills. And we're keeping homes powered with emergency energy credit. That's enough talking. Let's get on with the doing. British Gas. Eligibility criteria apply.
Imagine ordering a coffee.
Latte, please.
Sure, that's $2.75.
Only for the price to go up halfway through.
Actually, it's now $5.
Excuse me?
Sorry, it's just gone up. I do that sometimes.
Unlike most other networks, Sky Mobile won't hit you with mid-contract price rises, so you avoid the unexpected. Sky Mobile. Hello, possible.
Data plan price fixed for your 12 months minimum term. See sky.com/comparison. Terms apply.
City Volkswagen.
Hi, I want to inquire about your Volkswagen spring sale event.
Sure, we've got great offers on Polos, Golfs and T-Rocks.
Really?
Yes, get £1,500 towards your PCP finance deposit on a Polo, £2,000 on a Golf and £2,500 on a T-Rock at 6.9% APR representative.
I'm on my way.
Plus 2 free services.
I'll be there soon.
No need to run, sir. The offer is available until Monday the 22nd.
Nearly there. Oh, my hamstring's gone.
These great offers start Friday 12th until Monday 22nd of May, so search the Volkswagen Spring Sale event. Golf performance and e-hybrid models excluded. Indemnities may be required. Volkswagen Finance.
Champions League live on Talksport with Till by NatWest, the card payment provider from NatWest. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
UEFA Champions League football.
What a goal!
live on Talksport.
WSL result from earlier. Arsenal won 4-1 at Everton this evening, and Chelsea are 1-up at West Ham United. Arsenal boosting their European hopes. Chelsea stays like that, will be top of the WSL tonight. The champion. Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. When we're finished at the Etihad, they were taking your calls, and I'm wondering if this is the best, the most exciting, the most entertaining City side that Pep has delivered since he arrived here. Make a note of the number after 10, 03717223344. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Nicola McGeady from Ladbrokes. 2-0 to Manchester City on the night. 3-1 to Manchester City on aggregate. Surely they're not going to blow it this time.
Yeah, well, City, they have just dominated from start to finish, with Madrid hanging on by a thread. It was so one-sided, and that is clearly reflected in the betting now. We don't give Madrid any hope. With City now 1-33, Madrid 60-1, and the draw is 20-1. It's not what you would expect, Adrian, from a Champions League semi-final, that's for sure. Can Silva make it a hat-trick? Will we make it 13-2, while Haaland is 11-5 to score next? Madrid, of course, hit the crossbar. That was the only shot they had, but the odds suggest they're going to break through and find the net in the second half, and it's 20-21. Both teams score.
Nicola, thank you very much. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus. BeatGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
I told you Chelsea were 1-up at West Ham. Let's get the very latest from Dagenham and Redbridge with Ian Abrahams.
42 gone, West Ham 0, Chelsea 1. Still that Niamh Charles goal separates the two sides. Sam Kerr's shot blocked, and Niamh Charles left-hand side stuck it in. Chelsea by far the better side here, and remember, if they win, they go 2 points clear of Manchester United, Adrian, at the top, having played the same number of games with just 2 left. 42 on the clock, West Ham 0, Chelsea 1.
Feels inevitable, doesn't it, in the WSL this season? And does it feel inevitable here at the Etihad, live on Talksport tonight, where Manchester City lead by 2-0 against Real Madrid, both from Bernardo Silva, 3-1 on aggregate. The domination from Manchester City cannot be overstated. More than 70% possession. They've had 13 efforts to Real Madrid's 1, 5 on target. And I know Real Madrid's was close, but they've put it down as off target. Hit the bar, of course. Whether Edison made that save or not, that didn't register. But Manchester City totally and utterly dominant. And here's a stat. Real Madrid finished the first half with 10 touches in the attacking third in the whole 45. Manchester City had 196. That's how dominant Manchester City were. Could easily have been 3 or 4, probably should have been. And hopefully Manchester City won't be made to pay for that. They're in charge, they're in control, they're on their way to Turkey for the Champions League final in Istanbul next month against Inter Milan, if it stays like this, or they add to it. Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 0. 3-1 to City on aggregate. They're on their way as the second half's about to get underway. Silver service in the first half. All set for the second half with Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot.
And just picking up on that stat, Adrian, 13 shots to 1. But Stuart Pearce, the 13 shots were so widely distributed that Ruben Dias is the only outfield Manchester City player who didn't have a shot in that opening 45 minutes. And that's extraordinary.
Well, it's beyond extraordinary. I would say that it's probably broken Champions League records, that's that, and probably if you go through a lot of the leagues as well, to have 9 of your players, 9 of your outfield players to have a shot at goal in 45 minutes is some doing.
Against the European champions.
Wow, incredible.
No changes in personnel ahead of this second half. Manchester City, Edison in goal, Walker, Diaz, Akanji, Stones and Rodri, Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan and Grealish, and Haaland. We're back underway with Real Madrid getting it forward. They're kicking from left to right. Vinicius and Rodrigo both trying to get in there at the start of the second half. Valverde couldn't find a way past Rodri. And City calm things down in the left-back position with Grealish laying it back for Akanji. He will clear. Real lining up Courtois in goal. Carvajal, Militao, Alaba and Camavinga. Valverde, Kroos and Modric. Rodrigo, Benzema and Vinicius. Fortunate to see a lot of Manchester City play during Pep's 400-odd games. I can't remember seeing a more complete performance from Manchester City than they have over the opening 45 minutes here. Walker with another well-timed challenge in conjunction with Rodri. Vinicius not happy, thought it was a free kick. Valverde comes towards the ball, but Rodri got there first, and he's played it out towards Akanji. Hurried ball forward through the midfield from him. Modric seizes upon it, and by the standards of the first half, just a little ragged start of the second half for Manchester City here, as Benzema plays it down the right-hand touchline. Carvajal laying it back for Valverde. Valverde to Eder Militao. Through the centre circle from him to Alaba. And now towards Eduardo Camavinga on the Real Madrid left. It goes without saying that although everything is in Manchester City's favour at the moment, if Real Madrid score next, the whole complexion of the game would change. Camavinga finding Luka Modric on the Real left. Back it goes towards Toni Kroos. 90 seconds into the second half, and it is still Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 0. A bit more possession though from Real at the beginning of this second period, though they're giving it away here. Camavinga with a loose touch, and then he's trying to wrestle Haaland to the ground. He succeeded. It's a free kick to Manchester City. Alongside me, the former City captain and manager, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, Camavinga certainly had a tough evening tonight. Just give a foul away there, and what they need to do, Madrid, wrestle some of this possession back and just get a feel of the ball for an element of time, just to get some confidence back within the group, because at the moment, if City carry on in the same vein as the first half, you can only see more goals. And more importantly, Madrid need to get the next goal in this match, otherwise I think they're on the way home anyway and out the competition, full stop. But they'll need some sort of credit to take back to Spain in one way or the other.
Kevin De Bruyne raises both arms above his head. He fires a free kick in here. John Stones, the closest City player to it. It's half cleared. And a Grealish taking on Carvajal, back for Gundogan. Gundogan flicking it away from Benzema. Bernardo Silva chipped down towards the left-hand side. Didn't quite get enough on that. And Pep with his exacting standards very quickly to the edge of his technical area. With his hands outstretched, not happy. City did salvage it. They worked it with Bernardo back for goalkeeper Edison, and then they'll play out. And again, there's just a little looseness to it, and Pep still not happy. Patrolling at the edge of his technical area and beyond in his dark suit and trousers. Here's Carvajal on the right-hand side. Polo knit, that's what I was looking for. Carvajal back towards Toni Kroos. Kroos on halfway, bringing it for Real Madrid, and he's just pulled up there. He got caught by De Bruyne. There's a hand of apology from the Belgian, but Toni Kroos caught, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Real Madrid. Valverde back for Luka Modric. 4 gone in the second half here on Talksport. Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 0.
It's interesting. If this was another team, the question would get asked, would they do change of formation, substitutes, whatever? Because it's Madrid, you think more they're just going to have to play the same way and attempt to get the next goal.
Now, Kevin De Bruyne there was bellowing at Ilkay Gundogan. He wasn't happy. The play goes on. Modric can bring it forward. Vinicius turning. Played out towards Camavinga. Laid back for Luka Modric again. Valverde to Modric. High angle ball. Carvajal brought forward. Brings it down. Benzema with a shot that hits Ruben Dias, who can then clear at the second attempt. Grealish came back to aid the defensive cause there as well. And a much more purposeful start of the second half from the men in black. And Ruben Dias has given a free kick away and gets a yellow card as well, as Vinicius spun him. And a free kick that will be taken about 8 yards outside the penalty area, right of centre.
Yeah, as I say, for all that you've done in the first half means absolutely nothing in the second half if you don't get the job done over 90 minutes. And no one will be more aware of that than Pep.
Well, the goal back for Real Madrid makes it decidedly interesting. There's not a blasé feeling about Manchester City on the pitch at all. Maybe the City supporters at half-time felt that it was all done and dusted. Real clearly don't. And they've got this free kick now. 3 in the wall, which is right on the edge of the penalty area. It's going to be Alaba, strikes it with plenty of movement, and it's a really good stop. And he went open side of the goal, and Ederson came across, raised his top hand, flicked it over the bar for a corner. Real take it very quickly, short for Toni Kroos. And back he will come in again inside the penalty area, looking for Camavinga. Gundogan's there first, almost ran out of room, should be able to clear. But play stops because there are two balls on the pitch, both in the penalty area. The one from the previous shot, which was tipped over the bar by Ederson, was thrown back in from the City support during that phase of play. And the referee's going to restart play with a drop ball to City inside their own penalty area, I think.
Yeah, just looking at that free kick again, Jim. He's hit it with topspin, side of the foot, topspin. And you're thinking, for all intents and purposes, probably when it's moved 15 metres away from him, it's going way over the bar, but it's dipped viciously, and a good save at the end by Ederson.
Well, he got his fingers just about to that Toni Kroos drive in the first half. So that's two good saves he's made tonight. Two good saves from Courtois at the other end, one of which was an absolute stunner when the game was at 0-0. Ball's gone out of play for a throw to Real Madrid. It bounces inside the centre circle. After the throw is taken quickly, Eder Militao with a poor header, and then De Bruyne with a poor pass, looking for Haaland. And quite clearly, the only 7 minutes of the second half, City haven't been able to replicate the standards of the first 45.
No, they haven't. And as they demonstrated just then, the one thing that they've probably fell slightly short on over the course of the game is balls in behind the back line. There's been opportunities maybe to slide one in, and certainly opportunities to deliver better passes. De Bruyne getting the last one wrong.
Kanji cuts out a ball intended for Carvajal, works it down the touchline for Grealish. Carvajal gets back goal side, but Grealish slips it off for Gundogan. Gundogan inside the penalty area, and still he goes, then checks. Back towards Jack Grealish, left-hand side of the box. City fans rise to their feet almost as one. And as it's played in, it hits Carvajal and goes out of play for a corner on the Manchester City left flanks. Their first corner of the second half, their sixth of the game.
I really like Grealish when he's in good positions to receive, but once he plays like he does now, it's a defender's nightmare. He picks the ball up, and if you drew a straight line to the near post, that is the direction he's taking, and that is a problem for defenders. Then you can get your head up and look for a pass.
Grealish will take this corner, spots it down on just about on the corner quadrant, and he chips it in, just stands it up towards the far post. Headed back across the edge of the 6-yard box, almost breaks with Bernardo Silva trying a left-footed volley. It was blocked, and Real will try and break very quickly, but Walker is back and gets it back to his goalkeeper. He had one foot race in the first half with Vinicius, which he won. He had more of a head start than this one, but he was still able to get there in plenty of time. City calmly play out from the back. Ederson's languid touch was sublime, and then as it comes to Gundogan in the midfield, he's fouled. And it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City, 15 outside their box, and Gundogan's not going to be in any hurry to get back to his feet. And just to show you how much the game has changed, first half 71% possession for Manchester City, second half 36% possession for City so far.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, if you thought that Madrid are going to come out and be as subservient as they were in the first half, you'd be deluded. But what I would say is, I'm asking the question, Vinicius Junior, I think, is their most effective player. He's matched up against Walker, who's got the mark of him. I would move if I was him and swap wings, anything, just to get a foothold in the game and be effective, because the more he stands up and against Walker, the more he'll have no contribution in this game.
Yeah, there hasn't really been too much fluidity. We talked about Rodrigo coming in off the right flank and playing in the half space as Grealish is wrestled to the ground there by Carvajal. That's an easy decision from referee Marcin, actually yellow card. And a free kick to Manchester City. We talked about Rodrigo coming into the half space and starting on the right flank. Sometimes he's at inside left. Well, Vinicius doesn't do that. Yeah. He's just an outside left, and that's all he is. And so you'd have thought that he would have a crack at Akanji at some stage, but there's seemingly no intent to do that.
No, I would say, put it this way, he's having no real, for a player of his ability, he's having no effect within the game, and you've got to credit Walker on that. I would try and get away from Walker, to be honest with you. It's the same as if you're a defender. If the winger's causing you a problem, get tighter and tighter and tighter to him.
Kevin De Bruyne will take this free kick then for Manchester City, who lead by 2-0. He raises his right arm above his head. Didn't get any elevation on it at all. Clearance isn't the best. It's headed back down towards Akanji, and then De Bruyne will take it on. Gets to the byline, controls it rather than hitting in a first-time ball. Finds Jack Grealish inside the penalty area, and that's a goal kick, I think, yeah. As Grealish tried to work it back towards De Bruyne, hit Carvajal, then came back off Grealish and goes out of play for a goal kick. 2-0 to Manchester City. Bernardo Silva with a double strike in a 14-minute spell in the first half. They lead by 3-1 on aggregate. You're listening to the Champions League. It's live on Talksport with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest. Here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as I say, second half not followed the same vein as the first half, but City will be delighted. They've still got a 0 against their against column, and the longer that goes on, the closer to Istanbul they're getting.
Are unbeaten here, Manchester City, in their last 25 Champions League ties. They've won 23 of those. It's a run that goes back to September 2018 when they lost the game to Lyon in the group stage. They've conceded only 19 goals in those 25 and a half Champions League ties here now in that unbeaten run. They can afford to concede 1 here with 33 minutes remaining. It's 2-0. Still 0-0 in that Championship playoff semi-final second leg between Middlesbrough and Coventry, which is live for you right now over on Talksport 2 in the WSL. A big win for Arsenal, 4-1 at Everton, and Chelsea lead 1-0 at West Ham. The ball played down the right-hand side of the Manchester City penalty area to Vinicius, looking for Rodrigo. The City defending mob handily can bring it away with Gundogan to Grealish, who just felt the contact and went to ground very readily to make sure the referee realised he'd been fouled by Eder Militao. Free kick to City on the edge of their own penalty area.
A real amateurish challenge there by Militao. I don't think he had any inclination at all about attempting to win the ball. Bear in mind, Grealish is in his final third, so he really should be jockeying, attempting to take it off him. He just ran up to him and pushed him on the floor.
13 gone in the second half. Ederson flighting it way out towards the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva and nodding it down. Kevin De Bruyne taking it on, looking for Haaland. It's been another one of those nights where Erling Haaland hasn't really had too much of an involvement. We saw that at the weekend at Goodison Park, where first 37 minutes he'd only had 2 touches, but he scored with his third, and that's what he does. Had one good chance tonight. It was thwarted by the goalkeeper. But other than that, no real opportunities to extend his tally of 52 this season. He's the top scorer in this competition as well with 12. Rodrigo able to bring the ball forward from the Real Madrid right. High, deep cross from him. Walker does well to swivel, beats Benzema in the air and gets in half to safety. Back for Benzema again, looking for Valverde. Brilliantly done by Gundogan, who controlled the ball, sticking out a right leg in the most unlikely manner, and then De Bruyne will bring it forward for Grealish. Grealish goes back for Gundogan, and then Gundogan changes the direction of attack by working it wide for Bernardo Silva. And City bring it forward.
Pepper's just blown a succession of kisses at Grealish for keeping possession of the ball. It's the right thing to do. Well, not the kisses, but well, maybe the kisses, but I think maybe with Eurovision, you know, save all your kisses from me, that type of thing. But so pleased with his technical input there.
Yeah, it's another one of those nights where Pepper's blown kisses and gaskets at various times, depending on what's going on in front of him. Walker forward towards De Bruyne. De Bruyne towards the edge of the penalty area. Still he goes. Oh, slipped it in. It's got the one. Carvajal just got a left foot to it and smuggled it back to his goalkeeper. 2-0.
Well, if that would have hit the net, it would have been party time at the City of Manchester Stadium, I'm sure.
But opportunity for Real Madrid to bring the ball forward again. Luka Modric towards the edge of the penalty area. Vinicius couldn't really get hold of it. Or break for Benzema. Karim Benzema controlling it on the right-hand side of the box. Now Luka Modric. Modric slipping it back in towards Benzema. Didn't get there. Grealish again. Great control from him. And he'll bring it away. And with another free kick as he's blocked off by Modric. deadlock broken in that Championship playoff semi-final on Teesside. Graham Courtney.
And it's the visitors. It's Middlesbrough 0, Coventry 1. It was a mistake by the Borough defence, really. The keeper, Zach Steffen, he's completely caught in no man's land. Ball squirted to Gustavo Hammer, and he's finished it really well. Borough 0, Coventry 1, commentary on Talksport 2.
He's had a sensational season, Gustavo Hammer, and breaks the deadlock. 1-0 on the night to Coventry, 1-0 on aggregate. Winners of that take on Luton, the Championship playoff final. It's live on Talksport, of course. It's a week Saturday. And 2 weeks after that, the Champions League final, which at the moment will be Inter against Manchester City. Pep's down on his knees at the moment. It's the gaskets being blown again rather than the kisses, just for a moment. He's down on his knees, but is swiftly back as Manchester City regain possession. Gundogan slipping it down for Grealish. He played 61 minutes. Gundogan flicking it in behind Bernardo Silva's run. Modric will try and get it away. There's not quite the same level of fluency and finesse about Manchester City in the second half that there was in the first. But there haven't been too many skirmishes inside their own penalty area so far at the other end. Camavinga getting it forward for Karim Benzema. Gets the return ball. Does well to work it forward through the midfield. Vinicius will go up through the gears. Gundogan has a little nibble at him. He's fouled him, and that'll be a yellow card.
Yeah, and rightly so. As I say, he went through the gears just then. Went past a couple of players, and Gundogan wasn't going to have him running at the heart of his defence. And just looking now, I think subs coming on, and it's Rudiger.
Yeah, Rudiger will be on. Next break in play. Rodrigo takes it down towards the dead ball line and wins a corner for Real with a cross that hit Akanji. Are they going to make the change now? Yes, they are. So Modric is coming off and Rudiger is coming on. It's an interesting one.
It is certainly very interesting. I wonder whether he's going to a three at the back at all, would you suspect?
I'm guessing he'll move Camavinga into midfield and Alaba to left back, but we'll find Camavinga's asking the question. He doesn't know what's going on, and he's just looking to Ancelotti for clarification. The corner's taken short after the change. Now it's played in by Carvajal towards the near post, and volley clear brilliantly by Haaland, and De Bruyne will chase after it, but Camavinga's going to get there first. In fact, the ball would have gone out of play for a throw before De Bruyne got there. Camavinga gets it back to his goalkeeper. Now it's played forward by Courtois, and it's just a nameless punt forward that Walker can get on the end of and head back to his goalkeeper. So that indeed is what's happened. So Rudiger's playing on the left of the two centre halves now, and Alaba's gone out to the left back. Kroos is playing on the left of the three midfielders, and Camavinga will play as the deepest in the role that Kroos had.
Yeah, well, to be fair, to get Camavinga out of that left back slot where he was having such a poor evening, he really was, probably might be a step forward certainly for them. On the face of it, you think it's a more defensive move.
It's Bernardo Silva. Kroos knocks it away. Goes out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Manchester City right. We're 19 minutes into the second half. Still Manchester City leading by 2-0 with Bernardo Silva the hero. First, the crisp left-footed finish at the end of a beautiful move. The second, an intelligent little looping header. And when he stayed calm as all around him panicked in the Real Madrid back line. Stones, back for Rodri. Now Kevin De Bruyne. 10 yards outside the penalty area, and he plays it out towards Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne gets it back. De Bruyne controlling it, working the angle back for Bernardo once more. Gundogan is in there, wasn't quite sure where the ball had bounced. Rudiger's able to get it away, and then a free kick is given away by De Bruyne, who's made a genuine attempt to get the ball but caught Vinicius. So Rudiger on, I beg your pardon, the man that won the Champions League final against City in Chelsea shirt a couple of years ago, one of just over 200 appearances that he made for Chelsea. He's got a little bit of history, of course, with Kevin De Bruyne from that game, where a very firm body check left De Bruyne with a serious facial injury, which manifested itself for the Euros and meant that he couldn't play the start of that competition. Here's Ruben Dias. Laying it back for Stones. Stones are getting it out of Bernardo Silva. It's a sublime little back heel swivel flick. And De Bruyne will bring it forward. He saw Haaland ahead of him, but he couldn't play the reverse ball, and that was one of Camavinga's better contributions to get his angles right and stop the through ball coming. Real bring it forward again. Vinicius. Valverde trying to get forward. Akanji's there to stab it away. Just an increasing sense of mild unease that Real are beginning to warm to their task here, and there's still plenty of time to set up a grandstand finale if they can score one relatively quickly. And they proved last year that they can overturn 2-goal deficits in the blink of an eye. There's still 25 minutes left in this one. Stones with a loose touch in midfield, gave it away. A rare mistake from him. Vinicius is going to be able to bring it forward. Stones trying to get back. Karim Benzema's got it now. Vinicius continues his run ahead of him. Still Benzema has it, sets it up for Kroos. Right-footed effort, hits Gundogan, and Ederson will trot across, stop the ball going out of play for a corner, and then drive it upfield over the halfway line, where Haaland contests a fight ball with Eder Militao. Camavinga comes back and gets involved. The Real Madrid centre-half is down hurt. Certainly no blame applied to Haaland that time, but referee comes across to see whether Militao's okay before play continues. Another WSL goal at West Ham. Ian Abrahams.
West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. Lovely ball from a cushion ball from Sarah Ingle into the path of Pernilla Harder, and left-hand side of the penalty area she fired home. It's West Ham 0, Chelsea 2.
And they're going back to the top of the table. The 2 points clear. It's Eder Militao bringing forward for Real Madrid, who trailed 2-0 and 3-1 on aggregate. Carvajal playing it back for Federico Valverde. Camavinga has it now. Camavinga slipping it to his left-hand side for Rodrigo. Benzema takes it on. Rodri knocks it away. The counter-attack is on here for Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne, acres of space. Rudiger goes across to engage now. Plays it in, looking for Haaland. And Militao did enough just to stop the run of Haaland being effective. The ball was secondary just for a moment. He stopped Haaland getting a clean run towards him, and Militao can bring it away. Haaland looks as though he's blowing a little bit.
Yeah, Haaland, to be fair to him, he looked as though he wanted to please Haaland there, De Bruyne, with a pass, and probably it wasn't on to play the pass. He should have just waited for the cavalry to get up with him. But you're right in what you're saying, Jim. This game is a little bit tightly poised, and with only a 2-0 lead at present, any goal from Madrid before Man City get a third, the third kills Madrid, but any goal back, all of a sudden it'll be nervous times.
And De Bruyne going up through the gears with Camavinga applying the pressure. He's been able to find Grealish on the left flank, doesn't try and take Carvajal on this time. Carvajal, a 5-time Champions League winner, he's laid it back instead for Akanji. Rodri, Gundogan, oh clever, a very tight eye of a needle to get that through, but he found De Bruyne. It's back for Ilkay Gundogan again, now towards Jack Grealish. Little hop and a skip as he receives possession, gets to the byline, gets it in past Carvajal, but not past Eder Militao, who had time to control it with his first touch, clear it with his second, and then Valverde works it wide. Alaba's given it away, and Bernardo Silva gets it back on the right hand touchline, down by the corner flag. And he just slows it back down to a walking pace, flicks it away from Kroos. Rodri. Back for Ruben Dias on the edge of the centre circle. Manchester City 2 up with just over 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's never a truer word said that you just said then with Grealish. Just kept the ball, didn't take someone on. It's what was needed at the right time of the game, and City need to keep possession of the ball and starve Madrid of it.
Well, they've got a free kick now, which will help them. Or has the free kick been given the other way? It has been given the other way. It's going to be a change. Toni Kroos is going to come off for Real Madrid, so Asensio will come on to replace him. He came off the bench to score against Chelsea. He's also come off the bench to score in a Champions League final in the past, back in 2017 against Juventus. And he will come on for the last 20 minutes of normal time here. He's got a dozen goals to his name over the course of this season. Got the winner against Getafe at the weekend and a 1-0 victory. And he's on, replacing Kroos. He's come closer than any Real Madrid player to scoring tonight. Valverde to Alaba, now at left back. Alaba linking up with Vinicius down that Real Madrid left-hand side. There is a nervous tension beginning to permeate out from the Manchester City fans at the moment. Now that the singing has stopped, it's being replaced by Just defensive on looking, really. Haaland coming back, decides not to make a challenge very wisely. Vinny's just going forward, claiming that he was given a push inside the penalty area. And the referee, Marciniak, not convinced at all. And he gives a goal kick. And the City fans on the far side rise at the instruction of one of the players, just wanting a little bit more noise and volume. They've got 20 minutes to get over the line. They've still got a healthy advantage to protect.
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to speak too soon here, I think what City have got, they're harder nut to crack defensively nowadays than they certainly were in previous years at this standard and at this stage of this competition. You always felt as though there might be the odd goal there. Their football was sumptuous all the time. But I look at them now, I think they're tough, they're aggressive, they're strong at the back, they've got stature.
They're trying to work it forward to the runner, Kevin De Bruyne there. And it goes out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken to Eder Militao. Eder Militao working it outside his penalty area. And down for the Real Madrid left-hand side for Alaba. 2-0, 3-1 on aggregate. Bernardo's brace in the first half, taking Manchester City to Istanbul. Well, at the moment anyway. Another chorus of Blue Moon to serenade their heroes from the Manchester City fans. Stones finding Grealish, coming in off the left flank. Again shown inside by Carvajal. He's had a good game tonight, has Jack. Plays it to his right-hand side for De Bruyne. Carvajal barged into him off the ball. Play goes on. Referee spotted it. Manchester City still in possession, have the advantage. Stones free in the midfield, but the ball is played for Rodri instead. Rodri gets it back again. It's 20 yards outside the penalty area. It's slightly behind square, but Akanji can bring it forward. And no Real Madrid player engaging with him. Worked into the feet of Haaland. Haaland a gun to it. Back for Haaland to win it. It's flicked on the bar and over for a corner. Well, we talked about the fine margins in the first half. And Haaland smacks the air with real frustration with the palm of his left hand. Brilliantly played in. That was his chance. Courtois came out, got something on it, flicked it onto the bar, and he goes out of play for a corner. The aggregate lead remains at 2 and not 3.
Yeah, I think the ball half got stuck under his feet. He's had to adjust, and probably with that couldn't get the direction or the power that he wanted.
Grealish takes the corner and again just really lofts it towards the far post. Header comes back in. The pass Stones and the whistle have gone anyway, and it's a free kick for a foul by Rodri. And Real Madrid is still just about in it.
I mean, Aid mentioned at half-time that the contribution for Haaland has not been great in regard to all the technical input that he's had. Could have had a hat-trick tonight, couldn't he? Comfortably.
Well, that's his way. Manchester City bring it forward again. The level of control that Real Madrid had in the midfield early in this second half has dissipated a little bit. I mean, Manchester City have done well to manage that, weather the storm, and now back in a position where they're enjoying the majority of possession. Here's Akanji.
City don't have to go anywhere. Sorry, Jim. City don't have to go anywhere at the moment. Just starve Madrid of the ball. That is key at this moment in time in this game.
A reminder that Coventry lead at Middlesbrough in the Championship playoff semi-final second leg. They're 1-0 up on aggregate. It's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. Another European semi-final tomorrow as Grealish is brought down here by Camavinga. And that's going to be a yellow card for Camavinga, one that's been in the post for a while. And he's the fourth player to have his name taken. Tomorrow night, another European semi-final. Manchester City looking as though they're going to get a European final. Will West Ham. They're away to AZ Alkmaar. It's live on Talksport 2. Here on Talksport tomorrow, Premier League action. Massive game for the European positions. Newcastle against Brighton. Kicks off at 7:30. And it's live for you tomorrow night on Talksport. Also, the League One playoff semi-final second leg. Peterborough against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. I should say Sheffield Wednesday against Peterborough. 4-0 from the first leg to Peterborough. That's live on the Talksport app. tomorrow night, kicking off at 8. Kevin De Bruyne taking this free kick, swung in, just needs a touch. It's got it, and Manchester City are going to Istanbul. They lead by 3 goals to 0. Akanji, I think the man that's got the touch, it may even be an own goal. Ada Militao, probably the player that it hit last on its way in. But City lead the European champions 3-0, and that is job done. The biggest hurdle standing in their way as they chase this treble has been cleared, and it's been cleared by some distance. City against Inter Milan. It's going to happen.
For all the talent and the movement and the great play, all it took was an easy in-swinging free kick tossed into the box, chaos being developed, and Militao's tried to get his knee on it and just helped it beyond his goalkeeper, who slipped, and it's gone beyond him. And as you rightly say, Jim, they thoroughly deserve this, and it is game, set and match now without a doubt.
Well, Carlo Ancelotti isn't happy, suggesting that the VAR should be having a look at that. Certainly the kick-off, it is going to be allowed to be retaken more quickly than I anticipated. They had a look at it, there was no foul, and Eder Militao own goal. And with 13 minutes to go, it's Manchester City 3, Real Madrid now. And you just sense that maybe with a 2-goal lead after everything that had happened 12 months ago, it had the potential to be able to play on minds, but not with a 3-0 lead. And you look at what they've done in the knockout stages of this competition. They've stuck 7 past Leipzig here without reply. They've beaten Bayern Munich 3-0 here. Now they lead the defending European champions Real Madrid by 3 goals to 0 in the second leg. They are more than worthy of their place in the final. Riyad Mahrez is going to be coming on for Manchester City in a moment, and Real Madrid know they're beaten. Well, start the Poznan.
They certainly do. Over the 2 legs, City have been absolutely magnificent, I've got to say. They didn't get the desired lead they wanted in Madrid, but they've come out tonight with a mentality of getting on the front foot, the movement, the interaction of the play, the chances created. They've been brilliant, and they've probably been the best a City team have been for at least the last 10 years.
Well, Ilkay Gundogan will get a massive ovation as he leaves the field here. Riyad Mahrez is going to come on to replace him, so Bernardo Silva will move back inside. Gundogan has been in the form of his life over the last 6-8 weeks or so, and he gets a warm embrace there from Jack Grealish as he leaves the field. There's going to be a triple change for Real Madrid with Lucas Vazquez, Tchouaméni and Ceballos all coming on as well. And those are their final changes. But well played, Ilkay Gundogan.
I tell you what, you turn round and said Gundogan's in the form of his life. I would probably turn around and say Bernardo Silva is, Walker is, Stones is. You can go right through this Manchester City team. Haaland potentially, De Bruyne. They're playing at the absolute maximum of their potential that you've seen, give or take.
Well, the 2 Real Madrid players who've come off so far are Camavinga and Rodrigo. A little bit of uncertainty in terms of the numbers boards at who the next one off is going to be. It's Carvajal. So it won't be Rodrigo breaking Manchester City hearts late on, as he did 12 months ago. He's come off. They've seen off his challenge tonight. We've seen the Poznan. Now we're being greeted to a hearty rendition of Blue Moon again from the Manchester City supporters all around us. Kevin De Bruyne playing the ball forward. It's headed away by the Real Madrid back line. Goes out of play for a throw. How many better Manchester City performances have there been on this ground? I would wager that it's certainly in single figures, and pretty low single figures at that, I would think. Phil Foden's going to be coming on shortly. He's just been called back. Here's Bernardo Silva, played forward towards Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne slipping it in. Haaland trying to get around the back of Eder Militao, couldn't make it. Asensio losing out. He's hardly been involved since he's come on. And Bernardo Silva is on a hat-trick, drops the ball short of the feet of Jack Grealish. Grealish has it again inside the penalty area, back down towards Bernardo.
Well, you turn up at this stadium, you think, what a performance that was against Bayern. Then all of a sudden you turn up against Arsenal and say, well, they've surpassed that. And then you turn up again tonight and you think they've surpassed that performance again, Jim.
Lucas Vazquez heads the ball back to his goalkeeper. I think this is the best Manchester City performance I've ever seen. I can't think of anything, just in terms of the context of the game and everything that's riding on it. Not just what this means, but what this game means as a means to an end as they go for the treble. And there's no formality that they will complete the treble, of course. Manchester United and Inter Milan will have a big part to say in that. Arsenal have done everything they could to push them as close as they could in the Premier League, and that mathematically isn't over either. But this has just, in patches tonight, been utterly out of this world.
I'm not sure I've seen too many teams with so many players delivering 8 and 9s out of 10 consistently over these last 2 months. All of these players, we talked about a few that are on top of their game. I'm looking at Akanji. I'm not seeing him play as well as he has.
Opportunity potentially for Real Madrid to try and get in there. Benzema, the angle is tight, the goalkeeper's down, it hit him. The ball is played back by Lucas Vazquez. Right-footed effort from Ceballos, saved and beaten away. Back from Lucas Vazquez again. The right-hand side of the penalty area for Karim Benzema. Just a little passage of play that keeps Manchester City honest. 8 to go. 3-0 City lead. 2 for Bernardo Silva and Eder Militao own goal. And here is the centre-half for Real Madrid. Vastly experienced Brazilian. He's not been at his best tonight. Hasn't been allowed to be. Ceballos to Valverde. Played forward now towards the edge of the penalty area for Real. Benzema is in there lurking. It's a volley clear again by the penalty spot by Ruben Dias. Trying to find Haaland. Haaland then will chase after a loose ball after Real work it down towards the near touchline. Picked up again by Lucas Vazquez. It hits Haaland. And the referee spots an infringement. And it's a free kick. And another change. De Bruyne will come off. Phil Foden will replace him. And we'll get news of a goal in the WSL while the change is made. Ian Abrahams.
Midway through the second half, West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. A corner-headed goal was flicked onto the bar, and there was Sophie Ingle to nod home from 2 yards out the rebound. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3.
Kevin De Bruyne being serenaded as he leaves the field. Another very impressive night for him.
Yeah. Got the biggest cuddle you'll ever get from your manager as he walks off. Pep will be absolutely delighted with his performance from his team. They've been magnificent. De Bruyne's featured in that. When they had cutting edge in the first half, he was integral in everything. He just goes where the ball is.
Pep will be relishing this moment without a shadow of a doubt. He's the first man ever to take charge of 10 Champions League semi-finals, and he's lost 6 of the previous 9, so he knows just how heartbreaking this stage of the competition can be, as do these Manchester City players and these Manchester City supporters. So they'll be making sure that they enjoy the moment tonight. Alaba and Benzema just on a completely different wavelength there, as one passed the ball past the other straight over the line and out of play for a Manchester City throw. 6 minutes left, and it's 3-0 to Manchester City, 4-1 on aggregate. Only 2 goals short now of 100 here at the Etihad this season. That would equal their club record. City able to bring the ball forward, trying to make further inroads into that tally in the time that remains. Kyle Walker's got the captain's armband now that both Gundogan and De Bruyne have gone off. City have it, played across the edge of their own penalty area, but safely. It is party time in the stands. Just the expressions on the faces of the Manchester City supporters. You think back 25 years to that day at Stoke where they won and went down to the old 3rd division. You think back to the the Wembley playoff final with Horlock and Dickoff and Weaver. And the sliding doors moment in Manchester City's history as they won that playoff final and started their renaissance. And I think of everything that has happened with this regime over the last 15 years, the money that has been ploughed in, but ploughed into the wider community in the east end of the centre of Manchester as well. And you look at this sublime performance, and everything over a quarter of a century has come together to culminate, they hope, in the treble. But still work to do.
I think, you know, this performance are welled away from the history moments that you've mentioned, but all of those people and all of those players have played a part in this history. You know, Kevin Keegan coming here and getting this team promoted, and this new stadium, he was in charge of this team when they moved into this new stadium, but well, they've gone stratosphere since then, certainly. Level of performance and achievements and one thing and another.
Real are able to bring the ball away. Asensio, Stones trying to make a challenge. Asensio's been able to work it wide and will be able to get Real going again. Karim Benzema bring it into Manchester City territory. 3-0 Manchester City lead as Benzema plays it out towards the left-hand touchline. Back it comes from Vinicius. City so far have been able to keep him pretty quiet. Kyle Walker making one brilliant interception in the first half, and it really set the tone for that particular individual battle. But they still have it, Real, bringing it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed ball in, stooping to clear. John Stones gets it away. And then it's laid back on the edge of the penalty area by Foden to Stones again. And it'll be played forward through the midfield once more. And City are able just to, with Rodri's brilliance, turn and protect possession. And now get Jack Grealish going. And Grealish takes it on a couple of touches and works it out towards the right-hand side for Riyad Mahrez. City leading by 3-0. Not necessarily hungry for more, but if something's put on a plate in front of them, then they'll take it. Here's Stones. Stones with Bernardo to his left-hand side. There goes forward instead towards Phil Foden. Julian Alvarez is going to be the next Manchester City man to be brought on. That change is imminent now. Grealish bringing the ball forward into a central area. Bernardo Silva to his left is just in from the left-hand touchline. Plays it behind Stones, but straight to Akanji. Akanji can bring it forward. Real still diligently chasing, but they're chasing shadows. Foden is in there. Lucas Vazquez actually beat into a slightly loose ball. Haaland will chase after it and try and dispossess Courtois. Foden then wires into the challenge. Ceballos can help it away, not particularly effectively, and it's gone over the line and out of play for a Manchester City throw, which will allow them the opportunity to make the change. And Haaland will come off. No goal for him tonight, but Alvarez will come on to replace him, and as he does, we'll find out what's going on at Middlesbrough. Graham Courtney.
It is still Middlesbrough 0, Coventry 1, only one chance into a last here. Gustavo Hamer again, free kick, and he's taken it, and it has whacked the crossbar. Coventry looking good. Borough 0, Coventry 1. Last knockings on Talksport 2 with commentary.
Looks as though it's going to be Coventry against Luton in the playoff final on Talksport, which is a week on Saturday. 2 weeks after that, it's going to be Manchester City against Inter Milan in the Champions League final. Manchester City's second Champions League final. And we will be there every kick from Istanbul on Talksport. Saturday, June the 10th. As Manchester City try and make history. Walker playing the ball forward here. 40 seconds to go. And another free kick goes Manchester City's way. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah. As I say, this is the semi-final of the elite competition in Europe, and one team have made it look very, very easy. They've been absolutely magnificent from the first whistle. They've got on the front foot. Any potential nerves going into a game of this magnitude, they put to one side. And if they keep this vein of form up going to the final, I think they'll win every game on the way to the final, let alone picking up the big prize.
Here's Courtois. They need one win to win the league. They need one win to win the FA Cup. They need one win now to win the Champions League as well. Jack Grealish getting a a yellow card for his challenge on Eder Militao. We're in stoppage time, 3 additional minutes. And City are 3 wins away from the treble.
Well, I mean, that is impressive, but the form they're on, Jim, it's just physically impossible to back against it. They've got a fully fit squad, give or take. Everyone's on the top of their game, and the manager's certainly on the top of his.
And they're looking for more and finding it with Foden slipping it in for Julian Alvarez. Manchester City, relentless, remorseless, regardless of the opposition. They've beaten the defending champions by 4-0. The treble chance very much alive. Manchester City through to the final to take on Inter Milan. They have blown Real Madrid away.
They certainly have. There's a lot of disconsolate players in black shirts out there. Madrid know they've been well beaten tonight, but tonight's all about Manchester City. It's all about Manchester City putting a marker down about how good they are, how good Pep is as a manager, and it's a matter of time. I think we've got a few weeks before they pick up the big prize. Just looking back at that goal, Foden, brilliant reverse pass, great movement from Alvarez, and he just tucked it past Courtois, who's done his best tonight to keep the score down. Credit to him, but certainly the rest of his team have not outplayed as well as he has.
Well, the 90th minute and stoppage time, when these two met in the second leg of the semi-final. Last season brought heartbreak. This season, it's brought the icing to the cake. Julian Alvarez's goal on 90+1, and the light blue and white flags are being waved around again around the Etihad. This has been one of the vintage performances of Manchester City history, and that is not to overstate it. A sensational win, and City fans will dream tonight of what it might lead to.
Well, all being equal, all going to form, you can't see any other result than them picking up the Champions League in a couple of weeks' time. Certainly picking up the Premier League, and probably it's only their local rivals across town that can stop them picking up all 3. But my goodness, you look at this team, they're physically strong, cutting edge, they've got everything.
And they have got a place in the final. The European champions dethroned in spectacular style on one of the biggest nights in Manchester City's history. They were sublime. They rose to the occasion with a Bernardo brace in the first half, and an Eder Militao own goal and a Julian Alvarez goal in stoppage time in the second. Many people here will never have seen Manchester City play as well as that. Sometimes in the past, there have been doubts about their ability to be the big side on the big occasion. Those doubts have been dispelled this evening with one of the most scintillating exhibitions of attacking football that you could wish to see. This, a 4-0 victory against the 14-time European champions. City eye their crown. They're 1 win away in the Premier League. They're 1 win away in the FA Cup. And they're 1 win away in the Champions League. The treble is on. And the chance of being crowned Kings of Europe, the pinnacle of that treble, is very much on the cards now. City, brilliant. And in the final against Inter Milan, it's finished Manchester City 4, Real Madrid 0, 5-1 to Pep's men on aggregate.
Real Madrid absolutely humiliated here tonight. Had it been double, the Spanish couldn't have complained. City absolutely ruined them in front of their own fans here at the Etihad this evening. And as the City players go around the ground applauding their fans, those blue and white flags are waving, and they're all looking forward to a trip to Istanbul. And Talksport will take you there June the 10th We'll be there in the city with the fans at the stadium for the game, and to see if by then City will have a chance of that treble. Manchester City taking on Inter Milan in the Champions League final, and we'll have it for you on Talksport.
Just looking on the touchline, it looks so like Pat Evra's got involved with a little bit of altercation with one or two, I don't know whether it be City backroom staff or whatever, I really don't know, but it looks a little bit unpleasant down there.
Patrice Evra.
That is Patrice Evra.
Yes, it is.
He's working for telly.
He's being shepherded away now.
He has come dressed in a very provocative bright red suit, which was noted in the first half. Listen, he has the right to support whoever he wants tonight. He's nailed his colours to the mast. I didn't see what had caused that, but there was a fair bit of finger pointing going on just a few moments ago. It's all being calmed down now.
Well, United could actually still spoil the treble in the FA Cup final, which again we'll have for you on Talksport on June the 3rd from Wembley Stadium, but no United of old is going to spoil City's night here at the Etihad this evening. Thibaut Courtois down by the technical area. He's giving a wave to a few of the fans. Tony Kroos makes his way off the pitch as well. I don't think Real Madrid can believe what has hit them here tonight. I think 1-1, they might have thought, yeah, we should have really taken the lead from the first leg, but City have absolutely done a number on them, and 4-0 I think flatters Real Madrid. The City players still out there. No City fans have left the stadium yet. They want to enjoy this moment ahead of the treble, which they can now see in their sights. The title is virtually in the bag. One more win and it's theirs. The FA Cup, June the 3rd, live on Talksport against Manchester United. What an occasion that will be. Win that and it comes down to the Champions League final in Istanbul against Inter Milan. June the 10th, Talksport will bring you every step of the way of this treble fight for Manchester City. Haaland has a Norway flag draped around his shoulders, remarkably not on the score sheet tonight. How Thibaut Courtois kept him out in the first half and in the second half, I will never know. Extraordinary goalkeeping, not even that was enough to stop Manchester City tonight. Big hugs. Michael Richards is down there, touchline, a Premier League winner with Manchester City. Big hugs for Phil Foden and Jack Grealish, who was sensational tonight, I thought, for Manchester City. A big dance from Michael Richards with Carl Walker, who again was absolutely sensational for Manchester City tonight. Every single one of them absolutely brilliant. Ederson gets a big hug from Pep Guardiola. We talked about his save ratio not being particularly great. He made a couple of really good saves tonight, Ederson, including one that wasn't registered, the Kroos one in the first half. But every single City player was brilliant. Stuart Pearce, there were little spells for Real Madrid, but by and large, Manchester City dominated, and I think 4-0 is an understatement.
Yeah, it was an understatement, it's fair to say. City for the first 26 minutes away in that first leg were brilliant. A goal against the run of the play changed that slightly, but from the moment this game kicked off, City they're just a well-oiled machine nowadays. You know, they've got physicality about what they do. They're tough to score against. They've got cutting edge. They've got everything, and they've got players from 1 to 11 that are playing 9 out of 10 week in, week out on the form of their life. It's not as if they're beholden to 1 or 2 or 3 players. This is a whole group of players who know exactly what they're doing. You go through them individually and you talk about Stones, Akanji, Silva, Gundogan. They're playing the form of their life, my friend.
And you know what? They keep Alvarez happy. He comes off the bench, he scores tonight. He's got a chance to become a World Cup winner and a European champion in the same season. Only the 10th player in history if he does it. Well, somebody's going to do it, because Martinez for Inter Milan, who got the goal last night, will be on the opposing side, and he could achieve it as well. But it's 100 Champions League wins for Pep Guardiola. He becomes the fastest to do it, achieving the record in just 160 matches. We must remember, people talk about him not winning the Champions League for a decade or more. He was 39 when he won it first. He's only 52 now. He could win it again this year. He's got a big chance. He'll want to put right the wrongs of 2 years ago against Chelsea. He'll be desperate to win it now. They'll be desperate to win the treble. And the way they're playing, Stuart, there's no stopping them.
No, of course not. And the most important thing in their key card, their ace in the pack, is their manager. As soon as this game finished, everyone, the City players are going round to see their fans. Pep just disappeared down the tunnel. He either needed a loo break or he'll walk to his office and just sit and have a moment. And he'll be thinking, yes, we've done well tonight. But you know what? He'll have an eye on the game straight away this weekend, and he'll keep pushing standards. And whilst you've got someone at the helm that's doing that all the time, this team will probably just get better and better.
Truly brilliant. All the Man City players are in the centre circle right now. And if you're a City fan, there's so many still in here. They're just starting to drift away now. But drink in these moments, because these are the special moments. You know, sometimes a semi-final victory can be so memorable and sometimes means that little bit more than the final itself, even if you win it. Just such a magical moment to know that you're there in Istanbul, and Talksport will be with you as well. Let's get the closing moments, the Riverside.